Okay, so let's transport ourselves back in time. We're in Cairo, 1919. Now, outside, the city is just simmering. It's on the verge of a full-blown revolution against the British. But our story begins inside, locked away in a single house on Palace Walk, and the clock has just struck midnight.
And this is where we meet Amina. Her entire life is a ritual of waiting. I mean, just think about this for a second. Every single night, for a quarter of a century, she has woken up at this exact hour. It's not an alarm clock. It's just sheer, ingrained habit. And it's all for one purpose, to wait for her husband to come home.
All right, so let's really explore this world that Amina has known since the day she was married. A world that is defined, quite literally, by the four walls of her own house. And this quote gets right to the heart of her psychology. Her life is such a predictable, closed loop of domestic chores that the very idea of being bored doesn't even compute. It's a routine so absolute, it's beyond simple monotony. It's just what is.
I mean, just try to wrap your head around this. 25 years. She hasn't set foot outside the front door in 25 years. Her only connection to the vibrant, chaotic city of Cairo is what she can see through the latticework of a balcony. It's like a beautiful cage. The sounds of the street vendors, the arguments, the laughter, those are her companions. Her entire universe is this house, and at the center of that universe is her one primary duty, to serve its master, her husband, al-Sayyid Ahmad.
So, who is this man she waits for every night? Let's meet him. This is al-Sayyid Ahmad, and he is a patriarch who has perfected the art of living a very carefully, and I'd say brutally, divided double life.
This right here shows you everything you need to know. It's his two faces. On one side, you have the tyrant at home. He demands absolute, unquestioning obedience. He rules with what the book calls a wrathful eye. But then, you look at the other side. Outside those walls, he's a total party animal. He's drinking with his friends every night, loves music, loves being the center of attention. It's like two completely different people in one body, a walking, talking contradiction.
So you might be wondering, how did things get this way? Well, early in their marriage, Amina made the mistake of just politely questioning why he was out so late. And this was his response. The book says he literally seized her by her ears to make his point. He laid down the law of the house, and that law would never, ever be questioned again. His word was final. End of story.
So you have to ask, right? What does this do to the kids? Growing up with this massive, glaring hypocrisy right at the center of your family, how do you even begin to navigate that huge gap between your father's two worlds? Well, you can see it right here. Each kid is basically a product of this split. The oldest son, Yasin, he secretly tries to copy his father's life outside the home. The middle son, Fahmi, he sees the hypocrisy and rebels against it completely, joining the political revolution in the streets. The youngest, Kamal, is just confused and scared. And the daughters, Aisha and Khadija, well, their world is a perfect copy of their mother's. They are confined, and they are waiting for their futures to be decided for them.
You know, a family that's built on a foundation this cracked, it's just not going to stand forever, right? Something has to give. And those walls that al-Sayyid Ahmad built to keep his two lives separate, well, they're about to come crashing down.
And the catalyst, the thing that starts it all, it isn't some grand act of rebellion. It's something so simple, so human. It's a deep, religious desire to visit a nearby shrine. And after 25 years of perfect, flawless obedience, this one wish drives Amina to do the unthinkable, to step outside her home without her husband's permission. But her brief taste of freedom turns into an absolute catastrophe. As you can see, she leaves the house and she is immediately overwhelmed by the noise and the chaos of the street. Then, a car swerves and hits her. But you know what? The physical injury isn't even the worst part. It's the shame, the dishonor of being found in the street by strangers. And when her husband finds out what she did, his verdict is swift and brutal. He banishes her from the only home she's known for her entire adult life. So she's exiled back to her own mother's house, the place where she grew up. But as this quote so heartbreakingly puts it, she's a stranger there too. A mother cut off from her children, from her home, from her entire purpose. She's lost her identity. She's just adrift, a stranger everywhere.
Okay, now this is where things get really fascinating. Because at the exact same moment that the walls of this family are cracking apart on the inside, the entire nation of Egypt is exploding on the outside.
You see, the family's private drama is unfolding against this epic historical backdrop.
Nationalist leaders demand independence from the British. That news spreads like wildfire. The British respond by arresting those leaders, and the very next day, the streets of Cairo just erupt into chaos.
And remember Fahmy, the rebellious son? He dives headfirst into this movement. He brings the revolution, its forbidden pamphlets, its dangerous ideas, its chaos, right through the front door of that house. And suddenly, the patriarch, the man who demands absolute control over his family, finds himself completely powerless against the forces of history, raging just outside his window.
So what we have here is this powerful parallel, these two revolutions happening at once. In the house, you have a wife's quiet act of personal freedom. In the streets, you have a nation's loud demand for political freedom. One is a rebellion against the family patriarch, the other is a rebellion against the British Empire. And both of them result in crisis and upheaval.
And this is really the genius of the story. It illustrates so brilliantly that the personal is always political. The tyranny, the hypocrisy, that desperate desire for freedom happening inside this one house. It becomes a perfect mirror for an entire country struggling for its own soul at a major historical crossroads.
And it all leaves us with this one big, provocative question to think about. When history is banging on your front door, when the streets themselves are demanding a revolution, can any home, any family really remain a fortress? Can the walls we build to protect ourselves or to imprison others ever truly be high enough to hold back the forces of change?